we're building is a layer on top of the EMR systems to give physicians a accessible, easy to use, easy to understand view that's touch enabled so that they can use it on rounds and in the hospital as part of their regular patient care.
Okay.
So,
and you're trying to save them work?
We're trying to save them work and make them more efficient so that they're not using paper records, so they print it off from the EMR systems, or they're not running to a workstation to try to understand something or drill in more detail. We think we can make them faster. We think that we can also give them better information so they can get better patient care.
Okay, well why don't you try and show me just a little bit of it.
Yeah. So what we've got here, we're looking at John Smythe's record. This is his basic overview of his care. So we've got his basic demographics, his problem list that's grown over time, some basic allergies, and then in the panorama standard to Windows 8, we have a basic overview of some of his sections of care. So we've got his recent vitals. We can see his height, his weight, temperature, pulse, blood pressure. We've got a section on pathways, which is comparing his care against a standard of care. We can see a timeline that shows sort of the history of events in his care. So he's been an inpatient for the last 3 days, and we can see in different places his vitals, his labs, how many labs have come in today. We've just got 1 for today, but we've got 71 for yesterday. A list of medications that he's currently taking. It's a relatively short list in this case. And we've got his lab values, which show in standard fishbone views that physicians are familiar with, and then we see which ones are potentially out of range that are red. So we can see his creatinine is 1.8, that's a little bit high, we'll be a little bit concerned about that. And then in the notes and reports area here, we can see the unstructured data in documents that we are pulling from a repository where we can start to mine for the information that's in here. So we can see that he had chest pain, he had a catheter procedure, and he had a stent put in. So we can go back to some of the other sections and see, if I go to pathways, I can see how his post-stent care matches with the clinical standards that we expect at UPMC. So we can see we don't have an ejection fraction. I want to order that test to make sure that we understand what his ejection fraction is post-stent. I can drive directly to Cerner. I'm in John Smythe's record. I'm in the ordering screen, and I can quickly order the test that needs to be ordered here,
now,
and then move
this
back.
is one of the important elements, right?
So what's enabled here is that we're actually driving, using a context sharing product from Caradigm, we're enabling the physician to move from this patient record directly to Cerner in the same patient record already in the ordering screen. So we're passing 3 pieces of information: the physician's credentials, the patient's information, their medical record number, their name, and then the order screen that we're interested in. So we can drive them directly into that system, so they don't have to look for the patient, they don't have to log in, they don't have to look for the patient, and they don't have to navigate to that screen. So very quickly they can move from wanting to make an order to quickly in another system making that order in 3 clicks and then coming back to the main screen where they're doing his work.
Show it to me one more time.
Yep,
how did you
ways to do it.
You sort of this summary visualization here.
Yep, so we've got the summary visualization, and if I look at, say, his pulse, and I say, hey, his pulse is a little bit elevated today, I'm concerned about what's happening there, so I'm going to swipe up and write an order either for a test or for a medication. I can go in here and I could cancel a medication that had been started, or I could order a different medication because it's something I saw
now we're in the Cerner system.
So now we're in the Cerner system running inside of a Citrix window. It's enterprise supported entirely. They can make the changes they need to make here in a couple quick clicks, and then they can go back to the system that they're more familiar with that's very touch enabled. So this is very easy to use as they're walking around the hospital, that they can quickly understand and drill down to see things, and then quickly move over to Cerner, do the thing that they need to do that Cerner's really good at. They can check, there's a lot of layers inside of Cerner for safety reasons.
Right.
And then quickly move back to...
And then the touch interface is more for finding information and visualizing information, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
So all the writing right now is happening in Cerner, so that's where you would go to write an order, that's where you could go to write a note. And what we're doing on the Convergence side is giving you quick access to that information, sort of the 80% case, what you would need most of the time to understand a patient.
Now why wouldn't you just look up the information in Cerner in the first place?
You could, but it's a little bit harder and a little bit harder to find, and not something that's easily findable on a touch device. So the mobile strategy is not quite there yet.
All right. Thank you very much.